people see that viral moment as the opportunity of like, that's when I know I've made it. But a lot of times that's not enough. I wanted to start today's episode. I think this is like a polarizing topic, so not to get anyone too heated. But have you heard of Labubus?
Oh, no, but it's so cute.
I
What is that?
know. So this is a Labubu. For anyone who doesn't know, I feel like going to Japan, I was very much like well versed in it. But I will say, I felt like it still was a little bit more niche. But they're like little monsters. It's from this Chinese artist, I believe. But he started selling these little monster figurines that are covered in like cozy little fur.
Aw.
And I kind of correlated to like Beanie Babies back in the
Yeah.
day, to where this one in particular is like constantly sold out. It's the newest one. And luckily, I have a great sister-in-law who was able to snag one for us. But actually, here, I'm going to hold it up close to the camera just so people can see.
Love.
Well, they're so
on.
cute. And, you know, Japan culture, they've been on it for decades, as they said, where like you kind of like put like you hook things up to like your backpack, your
Yeah.
purse, your pants.
Mhm.
And it's been a whole thing. And now it's kind of coming to America with Pop Mart being at the forefront of it. But yeah, going into today's main topic, I thought we could talk about just life after going viral, life after hitting like a point of success.
Yeah.
Just because I think people see that viral moment as the opportunity of like, that's when I know I've made it. And yeah, like for my case, having that viral moment was a huge motivating day for me and really showed the potential I could have. But what's interesting is I'll see on TikTok nowadays, people will have like all their videos, it'll be like 100 views, 200 views, 300 views, and then randomly they'll have like 7.5 million because they had this big viral moment. And you have people that have taken that moment and made a whole career out of it, like Brittany Broski with Kombucha Girl. I don't know if anyone is familiar with that. But a lot of times that's not enough. And that's not really almost like the point of success. I noticed for myself, if I would have stopped there, I definitely would not be where I'm at right now by any means. And actually, it's annoying to say it because I feel like they say this in like reality competition shows where like the person wins. They're like, that's when the work actually starts.
Yes.
Like in America's Next Top Model or the Project Runway or things like that. Once you win Project Runway, that's when you have to actually make a business out of your fashion or do what have you. Yeah, but I was going to ask, was there a specific point you had that you felt like, okay, that's because I know you didn't, we always talk about how like you didn't have like a viral moment, but like, what was that point of success for you?
Yeah, I don't feel like there's been a moment where I'm like, wow, I've made it. I can't think of one where I feel that way, especially as it relates to content creation, because it is a piece of my business. You know, like it's not like I'm going all in on I'm a full-time YouTuber per se. Like, yes,
Right.
I really am, but I also have another full-time job. And it's kind of hard for me to like be like, yes, I made it as that. But I will say, I think other people have a viewpoint on that for me. And it actually makes me feel terrible. I don't know if this is what you're asking about or where we're going with this episode, but this is something that's bothered me a lot. And it's not anything against these people saying it necessarily, but a lot of people will tell me, oh, I used to watch Latasha in 2021, or I used to watch all of your videos when I was first starting my business or something like that. Like as if I'm like, well, why not now? Like what, like, why not anymore? Like, I'm confused. Like, why are you talking about me? Like, I'm like dead, you know? And I think it's because it's when I did have my most viral YouTube video, which was like how to start a social media strategy or something like that. And so I think that's what people are referring to is like that era. And yeah, so I guess that.
Okay, question though for you. Do you feel like you, in your content that you make now, do you feel like it's for people up and coming or people that have made it?
I mean, My content now, I feel like I try to make it more for people like me, people who are in,
Yeah.
doing what they're doing. The problem, I guess, is that is not what does well. Like,
Right.
that is not going to get numbers, if you will. The
Mhm.
the videos that get numbers are how to make six figures online, how to
Right.
start a side hustle, how to create a social media strategy. It's like the very 101 stuff. But I find it hard to maintain that because it's like I can only do so much beginner level content,
Right.
and it works for the SEO, it works for like attracting the audience. But then the hope is they're actually going to be growing and getting to that intermediate
Right.
level.
Growing with you,
Yes,
if you will.
exactly. So I want to
Yeah.
create a community, not just virality. So it is a constant challenge because I think you always have to have a little bit of both because you have to be attracting new people into your audience.
Yeah.
But it for me, it's just not something I'm willing to do all the time. There are creators, there are peers of mine who do really well by just like
Mhm.
doing that 101 level content, but they don't really have community. They're not doing brand deals, for example,
Right.
because they don't have like a community built up to sustain that, but they make a lot of money on ad revenue and course sales and stuff. So
Right.
you kind of have to choose which side you want to be on. And for me, for some reason, I always choose the harder path, it seems.
Well, I think
Probably
because like we
dumb.
both kind of struggle with of like being fulfilled
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's almost like you and I weren't meant to be like a teacher teaching the same English class from 1995 to 2025.
Hmm.
Versus like some people they're meant to be like the specialist that's what they do. Then and it's
Yeah.
very easy for them and they enjoy the ease of it.
Yep.
Um yeah, I feel like that's a good point you brought up too of when it comes to virality of like you're gonna have maybe like your own little points of viralness. I think
Hmm.
almost like a goal should be life after going viral. Okay, you have your one time. I think the bigger goals should be like almost kind of like how they say like I think about it a lot actually of like one hit wonders
Yeah.
of like when it comes to music artists of like
Yep.
it's got to be really fascinating to just be a one hit wonder of
Hmm.
like for some reason like nothing else you did works and I almost like kind of see as being a creator who went viral and like has seen very much like the low of lows in terms of views compared to like when I try new type of content out and maybe doesn't work to the high of highs of like having so many like over a million view videos.
Yeah.
um I can see like how a one hit wonder music artist, let's say they didn't want to recreate
Yeah.
the one song and do like a similar song that was the one that went viral, I can totally see why they would never go viral again.
Hmm.
Because they'd
For
be
sure.
like, well, I don't want to make another
Yeah.
version of that.
Yep. Totally.
um, and I think that's something to consider too after going viral is do you want to keep doing that?
Yeah.
And hopefully you go viral for the right reasons, I guess.
And sometimes it's external factors too. Like you see it all the time with music of like, an artist clearly basically trying to make like version 2.0 of their biggest song
Yes,
and it doesn't work because for whatever reason there is a little bit of magic I think involved
there
in
is.
this. The timing has to be right, the whatever's going on in the world. Like, for instance, those social media strategy videos that people are referring to, that was also during COVID times, and
Right.
we have to like keep that in mind. There were a lot of people who were available to watch a long YouTube video, a lot of people who were interested in starting a business or so the conditions may not work as well even if I tried to do that exact same video today. It just might
Mhm.
not work the same way. So sometimes you have to just like take what you can get and get as much out of it as you can in the moment, like ride that high as long
Just
as you can, I
squeeze it,
guess.
really,
Yeah.
really squeeze the water out of that wet towel as much as
Yeah,
you can.
for
Um,
sure.
yeah, I'm trying to think too of like, well, going into it too, like going into pre going viral, let's say, I think you also have to have the mindset of like wanting a certain outcome.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, like when the magic does it, when the fairy godmother appears and casts that wish for you, that
Mhm.
is like a video going viral, I really hope everyone who wants that to happen sets themselves up to almost like have a good POV with it. Or like for
Yes.
my sake, like it was the Michigan stuff, and then made Michigan stuff before I went viral, and I made it after.
Yep.
So it's like you kind of have to have that mindset too, when it
Yeah.
comes to it. I think.
I was listening to an interview with Bobby Altoff. You know who
Mm-hmm.
that is?
Mm-mm.
She's like that. She kind of came out of nowhere. She does these, and I said that in air quotes for those just listening. Like she interviews. She got really famous from doing an interview with Drake, the rapper.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she was like in bed, like doing an interview with him, and she's just like this, like she looks like a like goody two shoes, just like blonde girl. Like it was kind of like a weird juxtaposition of her like
Mm-hmm.
interviewing all these rappers, and then she has this like really dry humor. I don't know. I really have no idea who she is, but I was watching an
What was the name
interview.
again?
Her name's Bobby Altoff, I
Oh,
think, or
okay. It kind
Altoff.
of reminds me of the chicken shop date, Amelia, a little
Oh,
bit of
interesting.
like kind of
Yeah.
being like just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a normal
Just
looking
all
girl, but then she interviews
American.
very like eclectic people or people that
Yes.
like have big personality.
Yeah.
So,
But anyway, she went viral. And like I said, a lot of people are like, who is this person? Like she's an industry plant. Like where did she come from? How is she getting
mm,
access to all these huge artists and stuff? But she was saying like she's like a mom. She was married at the time, and she was like, I would just go on TikTok every day and I'd post a minimum of like 5 videos every day, hoping to go viral. Like
mm,
like that was like her goal. And it was really mind-blowing to me because I'm just like not I've never really been on TikTok. So I'm like,
yeah,
is that the move? Is that what people are doing? Is that what you
yeah.
were doing? Like is that
I
what
was
it is?
posting still like 3 a week,
Yeah, okay.
I would
She
say.
was hardcore.
Yeah, that 5 a day is I do see people doing that though, where like they'll
Yeah.
post kind of like I find it interesting that the people that will post like the same type of video like
Yeah.
5 or 6 times over and over again, versus for me, I made sure every single video did feel different,
Yeah.
like in a certain degree, I like had a different POV of
Right.
some kind still.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was still only doing like the 3 a week. And then I will say like once I was able to land on my niche, which we have a podcast on, and there's countless things to kind of like think about what niche you might want to be in for a content creator. If anyone's listening that is on the verge of wanting to go viral or what have you, I did find that anytime once I picked my niche, it was nice because every video I did, I was able to then have this goal of like, okay, I know I want to be in this niche. This type of video does well under this niche. Let
Yeah.
me recreate it. Versus if I didn't have a goal in mind or like a niche goal, then I wouldn't be able to kind of analyze
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah.
So going into being viral, there was definitely some science involved, and like I've mentioned on a previous episode, a year of making YouTube videos about Michigan
Yep.
before I even got on TikTok and started like, oh yeah, I should do Michigan stuff. In addition to a degree in media communication, in addition to,
Yeah.
working in the digital marketing world. So
Right.
it's like, I think the idea of going viral, people think it's happenstance. And I think when it is, you don't see much of an impact from it.
Yes.
Um, but I will say, like, Brittany Broski is an example of like a going viral moment of somebody that was literally not expecting it.
Yeah.
But I'll say the thing that got her off the ground was the queer community
Oh, okay.
that like kind of like took her video, her photo, and made it into a meme of sorts on Twitter. At
Mm.
least that's how she says it went.
Mhm.
So it's like you can have those moments, but I think that it like you need to have again almost like extra magic,
Yeah.
we'll say, of like it getting picked up by maybe a news station
Yeah.
or a certain niche culture of people
Right.
that really gravitated toward it. So I think like putting in the work ahead of time makes you need less magic. There we
Yeah.
go. Or
Yeah.
like having more of a strategy behind it requires less magic from your end, or less chance. Leaves
Yeah.
less to chance. There we go.
Definitely. Yeah, and like I can relate to I've gone viral for completely random things, and so
Mhm.
I have nothing to I've gained nothing from it. Like my Taylor Swift Instagram reel, I literally had to take it down temporarily because it was like I was just talking about her documentary, and
It
I
was
was like,
blowing up that much.
Yeah, it
That's
was like,
crazy.
and it was annoying me because I was like, I'm getting like all these comments on it, uh, and I was getting some followers from it, but I could just tell that they weren't my ideal client or ideal viewer, and
Mhm.
so I was like, I know this is going to hurt me long term.
Yeah.
So it's back up now, but like for a while, I actually like hit it or put it on private or whatever. Went viral on Threads and on Twitter back when I had a Twitter, just for like random things, talking about like, oh, isn't it annoying when curtains, blah blah blah, like something completely irrelevant. I went viral about a music thing, Andre
Yeah.
3000 from Outkast. I made a viral tweet about him back in the day playing flute. So, but it's so yeah, it's like those things, they don't help you unless
No.
if I was like, maybe I need to be a music creator because clearly I know
Mhm.
how to go viral for those types of things and have like something,
That's
collect emails or have somebody
right.
subscribe to something. But
But no, that's an amazing point to bring up too of you don't wanna go viral for the wrong reasons, because if you
yes.
do, specifically what you said of, like, it's gonna throw things off. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have this certain goal in mind, you have to stick to it, even if that means maybe like, there's the best way I can, like, relate similarly is, like, there's been moments where I could record something and share it
Yeah.
that I know would just possibly get, like, a general kick. You have to almost, like, manage your virality,
Yeah.
because to your point of, like, you're like, "Hey, this is kinda blowing off, but I need to, like,
Yeah.
cut it," because like, you don't wanna take it off, it's a good
Mm-hmm.
you're getting good views and engagement, but let's say the algorithm knows you for as this, like, epitome of freelance content creation, and then all of a sudden you do a Taylor Swift video and you go viral for
Mm-hmm.
that, it might mess with how it reads you
Yeah.
to where it doesn't suggest
Right.
freelancers
Right.
later on. It will suggest Taylor Swift fans,
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, definitely don't wanna go viral for the wrong reasons either. So
Yeah. And
managing is
just,
always good.
yeah. And I guess my thing is I try not to even like think about algorithms. I try to think about people because at the end of the day, human behavior allegedly drives these algorithms, right? So if I think about it, I'm like, okay, I followed this girl because she made a video about Taylor Swift.
Mhm.
Therefore, I'm expecting more Taylor Swift content or at least more music or entertainment content.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I see from her is like my favorite tools for editing websites or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm not going to be into that, you
Right.
know? So I try to think of it that way. And I was like, I'm not going to be serving these people. I have nothing more for them. Like, I have
I
nothing more to give them.
so I agree. I also, though, to offer the counterpoint
Yeah.
for focusing, because I hear that sometimes too of like people saying like as long as you focus at the core of it, you'll be good. I think that's honestly not true to a degree of like I feel like for my case, when I try to get really personal with it and I try to
Yeah.
be really like human to human, it doesn't do well. And
Yeah.
that's not because I think that some people, I was actually just thinking about this the other day. I think some creators, their audience develops because they're like talking like this in their
Yeah.
bed, kind of like talking about life stuff. They're in their car and
Yep.
it feels very casual. For me, I think people, they want to see a skit.
Yeah.
They want to see a full-fledged idea skit with a punchline
Yep.
and, produced.
Yeah.
If I did something point and shoot casual, which I have in the past, where I'm just talking to the camera, tanks,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely tanks.
Yeah.
Um, and I do think too, like for people, we've kind of talked about in the past too of like making content. I feel like total, it's like 70% human. It's my creative idea. I want to be creative. I know the POV. I know the material. It's like that 70% that I know people are going to resonate with. That 30% though is a pretty hard like I need to put Michigan in the title. And the title, I've noticed like on TikTok, when you don't put, if I don't put the title on a TikTok video, percentage wise goes to more non followers. If
Mm-hmm.
I put Michiganders, Michigan, whatever my niche is in the title,
Yeah.
and I make the title in TikTok itself,
Yeah.
it goes to like 6 to 10% of
Yeah.
my followers.
Right.
So it's like little science things like that, I think they are like kindling, I think, to contribute to viral moments. Like I just had a video
For
get
sure.
1.2 million views that
Yep.
I honestly didn't expect.
Yep.
But I think at the same time I knew it was going to be good because in my head I was like, it's a great idea. I know people will resonate. My 70% human was taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
30% I was like, let me make sure that I put this title, use this song,
Yep.
thinking about kind of like the science more,
Yeah,
which
I
is
agree.
unfortunate because it feels colder, I guess, when you have to
Yeah, well,
focus
I
on
think
time.
I think we've talked about this before. I think there's just it's a different type of goal, I guess, or a
Yeah.
different type of creator in that like in some sense, and I'm not saying you're not you, but you're kind of playing a role when you're,
Yes, I'm a character.
yeah,
Yeah.
I am not. Like
Right.
and I
That's true.
actively don't want to. I always say this.
Yeah.
This was one of my tweets that kind of went semi-viral back when I had a Twitter is like um I know the formula. I just don't want to use it. I
Yeah.
don't I know how to go viral on YouTube. I do know.
Right.
But I kind of have to sell out in my niche. Luckily,
Mhm.
you've chosen a niche where you don't have to sell out and you can be doing things, you know, ethically and all of that.
Yeah.
For me, in my space, I just have to talk about how I make multiple six figures as blah 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 and how anybody can do it and how it's so
Right.
easy and put that in the thumbnail and use like a airbrushed photo in my thumbnail. Like
Yeah.
I know how to do it. I
Right.
just that's not what I want to build. Like I
Yeah.
started this as just being me and like that's what I want it to be. And if that means I have like less success than the next competitor, I'm fine with
Right.
that. I'm actually fine with not going viral to be honest.
I'm sure it's hard though to like sit there because I know that I'm sure like sitting on the perfect course
Mhm.
uh video combo, I guess I know that you could create,
Yeah.
or like a series of sorts you could create to go. But
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying though, of like if I'm understanding correctly, of like you're kind of contributing to that culture, not to
Mhm.
like call people out, but the culture of like
Yeah.
poor training.
Yeah, get rich
We'll
quick.
say, yeah, get rich
Yeah.
quick, kind of like buy my course kind
Yeah.
of energy.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. And I do at the end of the day look at this as
Mhm.
like an art form to your
Yeah,
point. I'm not saying I'm some great artist or anything like that, but like I want to
an
have
artist
fun with it.
nonetheless, though. Yeah,
Yeah, I want to have fun with it. I don't want it to be just about I don't want to take away the ability for me to be like, I just want to make a fun video today,
right.
and have like this such rigidity and strictness to my content. I want to
Yeah,
reserve the right to just like frolic around a field and post that video if I feel like it.
right.
And I think when you start to get so calculated with it, you are no longer able to do that, or
Yeah,
at least there's this pressure to not be able to do that.
yeah.
Which is fine if that's how you went into it,
No,
but
but I
that's not
think
how I went into it.
yeah, and I think physically too, like the points where maybe I feel like I'm getting more calculated. I've noticed over like the past 5 years or so of me making it, I'll make maybe like 3 videos in a row that feel a little bit calculated. My brain hits that cold spot to where they're
Hmm.
like, you can't you got to switch it up.
Yeah,
Like
right.
I've noticed like my brain will be like, you cannot not be creative, so like you need to do
Yes.
something that's like out of the box creative. And like so I'll find myself like, I was just actually listening to it today. I made this song a year ago that I'm
Yeah.
like, I kind of want to like see if I can filter it because CapCut has some really nice audio editing
Oh, cool.
features. I'm like, maybe I can filter it to sound more like professional.
Yeah.
And I did. So now I'm like, oh cool, like I can maybe do that and like keep your artist side.
Hmm.
um I wanted to ask one specific question with the almost like tea side of this, but it's more of like a nice energy. um One, I guess, for two part, do you feel like you've made it?
Yeah. I mean, uh, I guess what is, yeah, I would say yes, because my version of made it is
Hmm.
I get to like play with cameras for a living.
Right.
And I am successfully self-employed. And does that mean I'm famous? Does that mean I've had this moment of virality? Does this mean other people look at me and see me as successful? Not necessarily. But yeah,
Hmm.
for me, I mean, I grew up wanting to make movies, and I'm making my own movie now. I'm
Hmm.
making little mini movies every day. Um, you know, yeah, like to me, that's making it.
Mhm.
So I would say from that perspective, yes.
Yeah, I feel like I also feel like I've made it already
Yeah.
to where like there's like nothing to prove, I guess
Mm.
too. But the reason why I want to ask this is because I feel like people might listen and be like, "Oh, I can't relate." You know, these people have
Yeah.
success and they're like in a different realm. I It's really funny that I didn't feel like I made it until I reassessed how I viewed what I was doing.
Mm.
Um, and it was surprising to me how early on I like achieved that feeling when
Yeah.
I really thought about like I got my first brand deal and like younger me was like, it'd be so fun to act in a commercial. And then technically you're like, wait, I am acting in a commercial
Mhm.
and I'm getting
Yeah.
paid to do it, you know? And it was funny too, because like the goals that I thought would make me feel like I've made it, like getting 100K followership on TikTok,
Yeah.
ended up not being as strong as those little ones. Like, I want to be in a commercial, you know, or like it'd be cool,
Mhm.
or like just to get paid to be a creator and be
Yeah.
creative every day. Um, be truly paid to like create.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like the goal. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting question too, because I feel like it's something that is a moving target, if you will, but at the same time, you can kind of have that feeling of joy pretty early on in
Mhm.
the goal setting, I guess, side
Yeah.
of things with content creation.
Yeah.
Um, and then to kind of keep it on like a joyful part of it, okay, I'm going to read it exactly because I feel like I said it best. Where did you find the most joy or when along your content creation journey? Because I think that people get wrapped up maybe in the going viral, having this moment where like, I've really learned the joy has been from the journey. I know it sounds so cheesy, but it's so true.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. And I don't want to say this in a negative way or like I don't appreciate what I have. I had a lot, but I had a lot more fun creating before I had any large amount of followers, honestly.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I to what I was just saying, I want to just post a video sometimes of me frolicking in a field
You
or
gotta post.
whatever.
Okay, you have to post you frolicking in a field tomorrow. Like
Yeah.
there's a desire
Right,
here.
right. But yeah, like metaphorically speaking, like I don't know,
Yeah.
sometimes like even like my Disney thing, I was like, do I
Yeah.
vlog this because like it doesn't fit into like a week in my business, like and
Mm,
people are going to get mad that I'm just having fun and not tying this back to business at all and it's like there's always this you know, at the end yes, I'm in control of everything, but I'm always going to be overthinking things and it will I mean, my last podcast was a little bit more mindset-y and just kind of like, here are some things that I've learned. And
I
I
really
haven't even,
like that. I watched the
thank
whole
you.
thing. Yeah, it was
Thanks.
great. For anyone wanting to check it out, like it, because some people talk about mindset so incorrectly, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like you talked about it really, really well.
Thanks. But yeah, I haven't checked the view count on it, but I can just tell by the volume of comments that like it's underperforming.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But whatever. My point is like when you have an audience, you have people to disappoint or you have a bar that gets set.
Yeah.
When you don't have an audience, it's like, let's see what works or like
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
just do this creative fulfillment for myself. And so I no longer feel like my content is mine. I feel like it is everybody's. It feels
Yes.
like it belongs to my viewers, which is a nice feeling in some ways too, but it definitely feels less creatively fulfilling for me. What about you?
I feel like, yeah, I guess I'm on two sides. When I was making it, I think the most joy I've had, it keeps switching.
Mhm.
I'll be, I don't know. I feel like beforehand, I felt like I had to try harder
Mhm.
to make a certain thing. Whereas like just this past week, I posted there's a family of robins in like right
Mhm.
outside my window.
I
And
saw that.
granted, TikTok, it's actually TikTok was not about the video. And I didn't expect TikTok to be about the video. Because TikTok's been good to me. I'm on some other stuff, which is
Yeah.
nice. Not as good as Instagram, but it's been good. And on Instagram, where I feel like almost like I'm really proud of the Instagram I'm building because I feel like it feels more like a tight knit family
Mhm.
of like community, kind of like you were
Yeah.
talking about. because I posted the Robbins thing and I was like, I think this is adorable.
Yeah.
I hope other people do too. And I think it has like 20,000 or 15,000 views or something like that, which is
Yeah.
actually like for something that's completely not the norm, off the
Right.
cuff, kind of about something random. I consider that pretty good. And so it made me excited. And like, I'm kind of, I think I'll experience more joy, I think, even as time goes on for what I specifically have with something like Instagram. So I feel like I did find a nice little pocket where I'm excited to do like different but maybe bigger production stuff,
Yeah.
because now I'm to the point where, like you said, like I know a video that's gonna I can make and it's gonna do great, and like
Mhm.
if I ever need to, like, for my resume's sake, have a nice little 100K views video sitting there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To
Right.
like make sure the brands know, like, hey,
Yep.
I got this in the bag. Don't worry. Or I
Mhm.
feel like maybe too, it's coming with me doing this for 5 years, and I'm realizing that I've been like that Michigan guy, this very niche specific thing for
Yeah.
so long. And like, I go out in public and like, I just went out to like a major thing and like
Mhm.
four people stopped me.
Mhm.
Like, I'm like, okay, I think I can almost be like more creative,
Yeah.
more kind of out the box, more wild. But
Right.
yeah, I feel like that almost touches on, like, to kind of close things up, like the life after virality and before. I would say for me, both were kind of like equally joyful, I guess is what I'm getting
Yeah.
at. Because like when I think
Interesting.
back to that year of making YouTube videos, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really getting that many. I was getting like 50 views. And like it was
Yeah.
frustrating back then when I wasn't getting a lot of views,
Yep.
but it was still really fun making those videos. And I felt really proud to make like a 6 minute or 10 minute video
Yeah.
about
For
something that
sure.
cracked me up. I've always kind of been my favorite comedian. So maybe that's why
Mhm.
I deal with comedy content now, that I've
Yeah.
like felt pretty even. Um,
I
yeah, it's kind of a moving thing.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, when I meet people in person, like, that is where I kind of get, like, oh my gosh, like, this is why I do it, like, and yeah, I get recognized locally and at events and meet up with people, and like that is kind of like what puts it all together and makes me be like, okay, there was a reason for all of those
Right.
videos that you made alone in your bedroom for years.
Right.
So I guess like in that case, I don't want to say like, oh, post making it, whatever that means, isn't joyful. There are parts of it that are joyful, but the online parts are not. Like the online response isn't as joyful. Like the online
Mhm.
pressure, I guess, from external influences makes it more stressful for me. So,
Maybe, yeah, I wonder too if like, do you feel like that could almost be like, I'm thinking about like the differences between us are both structures wise, just to give context for other people who might be in similar boats, of like sometimes which I think is really exciting, is like you're kind of making videos now that aren't for like, I don't know where you can explain where your head was at, but like making a video that you think can like propel a course sale
mhm.
versus making a video that is like, here's my life.
Yeah,
Like like
yeah,
joy, I would assume, comes from the here's my life
for sure.
type video
100%.
over
Yeah.
that. But
What?
you got to do it. And it also is very helpful to
Yeah.
make the other type of video too.
Yeah.
It just feels different, I would assume.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think just balance. I don't know. I've been thinking about my video schedule of like one for you, one for me.
Hmm.
I've got the Friday podcast that I'm always going to make, and I have to make because I have a sponsor for.
Yeah.
So I kind of can't rock the boat too much. And that's the stuff that's like for the audience who wants Latasha James social media marketing bot
Hmm.
person. And then I'm going to do a vlog. And
Yeah.
like that's for me. And if you don't like it, that's fine, but like
Right.
whatever. So I'm kind of trying to approach it from that balance point of
Hmm.
view.
Yeah, I'm always trying to think about that balance for myself too, in terms of even like brand deals, and making sure too that when I do brand deals and working with people, that they allow me to be me.
Yeah.
Because I think if I was doing a business-esque video where
Yeah.
the client was like, didn't want me to have my sparkle of a personality and
Right.
Michiganderness, I would definitely feel some
Yeah.
type of way
Yep.
negatively probably about it. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, that's life after viralness, success,
I think,
before.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's success or like making it depends on you. Like,
Yeah.
everybody's level of success is different. I think that's my closing argument
Yeah.
is truly I felt like I made it when I had like 20,000 subscribers or whatever because I was a
Right.
working freelancer at that point. No, I wasn't making that just off of content, but like the fact that I had built this business largely because of YouTube, of getting
Mm.
clients on you via YouTube, I felt like I made it. So you don't
Yeah.
have to have millions of followers or anything like that. You
No,
could be
or
working a
yeah.
full-time job still and just, wow, cool, I get
Right.
to produce my own stuff and, make a film. Like
Right.
that's
Not only
making
am I
it.
hired to work a full-time job, on top of
Mhm.
that, I was able to actually make a whole content career on the
Yeah.
side. You know what I mean? In a little small way even.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
So
yeah,
define
I
your
think
own success.
yeah, define your own success and really just yeah, I think that's a good way to end it, honestly. Leave a comment if you guys are curious to learn more about anything that we said in the video itself, and leave a review in the podcast if you loved listening to us because it helps get out to more content creators.
Share
We've
it with a
loved
friend
everything. Share
if
with
you
a
feel
friend.
really fancy.
Yeah, and honestly, share with a friend because I feel like a lot of friend groups, like I don't know, it's like some of my friends are starting to talk about social media now because I think it's funny because like everyone's kind of realizing you need to have it. Like
Yeah.
I don't want a blanket statement, but I will say like in most careers, or
Mhm.
not most, I'm gonna say many
Yeah.
in many careers nowadays, having a social presence. I think it's people don't understand the power of it, and I hope that the things that we talk about on this podcast really help everyone to branch out, to become creators, to think about content creation, maybe just in different ways. And yeah,
Yep.
we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.